Hi everyone, welcome to our latest PeopleHR webinar. My name is Bethany and I'm a Customer Success Manager here at Access, and today we're going to be looking at keeping employees engaged using PeopleHR. Before we get started, I just want to make sure that you can hear me clearly. If you can't, please check your audio settings. If you do miss anything, don't worry, we are recording this webinar and we'll share the recording with you via email post-webinar. If you have any questions at all during the webinar, please submit these in the questions box and we'll also come back to you on these via email post-webinar. The length of the webinar is going to be around 30 minutes. Adam's going to go through the agenda for the demonstration in a little more detail, but we're going to be looking at holidays, other events, timesheets and assignments, entitlements and statistics, and then our wrap up at the end. So it's onto the product demonstration by Adam, our lead trainer. Over to you, Adam.
Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar where we'll be focusing on how to keep your employees engaged using your PeopleHR system. Now today we're going to look at a variety of features. Some you may expect to be in this list, but there may also be some features that surprise you, maybe things that you weren't even aware were in your package and ready for you to use right now. So let's get started, and as we mentioned, we're going to look at a few different features. So we're going to go through today's session in the order of those features, and the first one on our list today will be to look at the planner area. So this falls under that category of probably one of the more expected features of PeopleHR you'd see in a session like this, but it is really worth us having a visit and understanding what our planner area of PeopleHR is capable of, especially for our employees. So here we've got a list of a few things we'll be looking at. As you'd expect, again, some things like holidays, so how they're managing leave, are we getting the most out of that to keep people engaged? But as well as holidays, we can also capture further things using a feature such as other events. So it's also worth exploring that. So again, we are seeing the optimal use of our planner, not just basic holiday requests. As well as holidays and other events capturing all different types of leave and instances, we also obviously have the ability for employees to engage using their timesheet and assignment area. So we'll look at how we can utilise those areas to best capture employees' time, or how employees themselves can best be using that area to capture their time worked. And then above and beyond this, we're last just going to see in the planner area, we also get the added benefit of giving employees the transparency of being able to see their entitlements and other related absence statistics very quickly and easily. So let's take a dive in as an employee into PeopleHR so we can see from their perspective how they're going to be optimally using all of these features within their planner. So let's jump across, shall we? So now we're here under the employee profile of the PeopleHR system. We are using the web browser at the moment, so everything we're seeing here is accessible just as we can see it from any employee's profile through any web browser. And this is the typical landing page, and already we're seeing some pretty helpful information and able to do some things related to what we just said is a planner feature, but we're seeing that right here on the dashboard. And that's our holiday entitlement, recent holiday information, as well as obviously nice, easy, quick action there to request further holidays. And these are all available from our planner as well, which is exactly where we're about to go. But we're so aware that this is going to be such a common action that the employees are going to be engaging through that we may as well have it be one of the essential parts of their dashboard. We are also going to talk about another part of the key components of an employee's dashboard that's involved in engagement very shortly once we've had a look at our planner features. So keep that in mind, because we'll be coming back here to take a little further look at some of the extra sections within the dashboard that we can see hovering down there at the bottom. But first and foremost, we're going to look at some of those other features we just mentioned from the planner, and we can visit that area for ourselves by going to the Me tab to view anything that's personal to myself. So as soon as I visit the planner area under Me, as soon as I visit Me, we can go to the planner area, other way around. And as soon as we visit there, this is where, again, I'm going to be able to see a lot of those same statistics that were showing up on my dashboard, as well as have more availability in terms of actions I can do, which stem beyond just standard holidays here, to also allow me to request any other events that are available within my PeopleHR, which is an element that people administrators can influence. And of course, we've mentioned that there is also a timesheet and assignment functionality here as well. So we'll just get a little bit of clarity on that and what that would allow me as an employee to be able to do in terms of engaging with time or time tracking. So first and foremost, we've already seen holiday showing up on the dashboard there, and it is identical if I want to select a specific day in my planner here and request that day or a multiple set of days of leave. And exactly like the dashboard, any requests that I submit or get authorized, I'll see the status of those either with the broken borders, solidified borders, or even by viewing my entitlement details at the top of the screen here to see my totals, as well as you can see some other general absence statistics for some general transparency about this employee absences and recent actions that might need to be carried out in relation to my absences. And this is all sitting in one single place, so it's a really good message to push that for employees, anything related to leave and absence sits under their planner area, and therefore all the notifications are going to be leading them back to the same place. Now, just getting back down to the current month there where my events can be logged, and I can see the history of my previous months if I do want to expand any of those previous areas. So again, engaging through that transparency. But one further feature I can also record here are my timesheets and assignments, which are two different ways of being able to capture time worked. So if I'm just capturing my normal working hours, as that's an expectancy of my day job, we can go in there and open up a standard timesheet. And this can be captured in a multitude of ways, but here on the web browser it can be done very simply just by opening up a blank form. Imagine this as being a replacement timesheet form, and each day allows me to complete a multitude of time in, time outs, whether that's a single in and out per day, or whether we want to have multiple of those to clock in and out around break times. And that's just, again, normal working hours with no additional kind of expectancy beyond any comments that are maybe recorded with that. But when we are wanting to get a little bit more specific with the hours that we want to enable our employees to record, that's when we can look at the assignments feature and introduce employees to this area as a way to make it much more straightforward to capture a variety of different working hours. And we can see that when we go into the assignment section and we go to open up a brand new form, just like we did the timesheet there, we have very similar information that's captured. Again, they both aim to capture hours worked. But here we also have 3 drop-down lists which the PeopleHR administrators are able to populate and control the contents of via the general system settings. And once they've been populated to your specification, that is then going to enable employees to specify their hours worked by the project that they choose from the available list. And this could be simply things like you can see the example here, if it's just different types of work, such as overtime versus standard hours. Or even if you do, of course, have actual projects or client lists that you want to populate this list with to actually specify billable work, or even just different statuses. So this is the further specification at the minimum, but then there's also these 2 additional lists that are usable. So if I do actually have a variety of roles that I might carry out within that project, then we can utilize the task list for just that. And if there's any further set details we want to capture, then the detail list is quite open for your influence in terms of any further detail you wish to capture. So with that, again, then I can provide my actual information of the hours worked, potential quantity if there's a number of units that have been completed within that time, which affects the rate of pay or something to that degree, as well as, like before, standard notes to provide with this if there's anything to specify. And that's just about all of the functionality here within the planner that the employees are going to be engaging with. Now, we are going to come back to a couple of these features a little bit further in this session, but for now, just while we're looking at the web platform, those are all the initial planner features we wanted to highlight to make sure that you're aware of the functions that these provide your employees and can potentially start to introduce them, or at least optimize the use of them so that employees are able to self-serve to their planner in the best way. So let's go back to our slides and have a look at what other features employees are going to be able to use to improve their engagement. So we've ticked off those items on the list there. So let's have a look what's next in terms of the list of features today. As we alluded to briefly earlier, the next feature on our list is actually going to be that feature bringing us back to one of our dashboard elements. And that feature is the news feature. Now, a couple of things we've mentioned here, just like with the planner, within the news feature, you can quickly and easily create news posts of any size. So whether it's just a very quick fire message that you want to get out there to the wide audience, or whether it is a fully comprehensive news post with a wide variety of information and much more additional rich contents within it, you have no limits when it comes to this feature we're about to explore. Kind of following on a little bit from that first point, your customizations can include things like logos, imagery, and branding. So it can replicate a lot of the existing contents, if you have existing contents that you're using currently. Obviously, not all news is relevant to all people, so we do allow the functionality to filter your selected audience for your news to basically include more functionality for the news that you're able to post if you can be a little bit more specific with who sees it. And of course, we do want you to be able to get news in the hands of people as easily as possible. So that does include the ability to bulk email your newsletters directly out to employees, to their inboxes, where they'll be needing to see this information, or where they'll be probably most commonly looking for key information. And that can then draw them directly back to PeopleHR if there's any response that you need. And in relation to that, you can actually allow comments on any news post of your choosing. So if you do need direct engagement back from these employees within PeopleHR, you can open up the door for that. And that means there is actually then information that you can either directly see yourself on PeopleHR responding back from the employees, as well as you can also then report that information if people have commented and responded to your news. So it gives you not only the ability to get your information out, but also opens up the door for information coming back in directly from your chosen audience. So let's go and take a quick look at the news feature and how it allows an employee to interact with it, as well as see the information that's available to them. So let's jump across. So as an employee, here we are left off in the planner area, so we're going to go and visit the news, and as we alluded to at the very beginning, this is actually another component of the dashboard. So again, one of those features that employees will be one click away from as soon as they arrive in the PeopleHR each and every time. And the news will actually highlight if there's news posts that they haven't seen. So currently at the moment, all news posts have been viewed by me, but if there are any items, you'll see a little red icon showing up above your news to highlight to you that there is news. And as we've already alluded to, I may have already had an email alert regarding this news as well. So the little television icon at the bottom of the center of the screen there is where I can click to actually open up the news feed and see any news that's available to me as an employee. So I can see short messages, I can see much larger messages that have been written by my HR, and I can see that some messages will even allow me to engage directly with them by adding a comment. And that's been, again, my HR's decision as to whether they want to open that up. So you can see that's been allowed on these couple of posts here, but not on this first news post. So therefore, that's just information for me to see. And each and every one of these news posts, again, could have been delivered directly to my inbox as an employee, and I can view these on the go as much as we like. Now, we are going to allude back to, again, quite a lot of these features towards the latter part of this session. So this isn't the least we've heard of news, but it is pretty much a feature to be this straightforward. It's fantastic for HR to use with employees, not just for your general business alerts, but even if there's actual direct system engagement that you need. If there's announcements such as you've introduced new features, or if there's actually specific actions that you need people to do, maybe you've uploaded a couple new documents to the company documents area, and there's policies that people need to be aware that are available to them. So news is a really fantastic feature, and it's just almost the most direct way of being able to send messages directly from your PeopleHR to a wider audience without having to go directly to your emails for each and every communication. So a nice simple feature, and that is just about everything there is to see from an employee's perspective for news, except we will be looking generally at a few more bits a little bit further on this session that may harken back to everything we've spoken about today. But for now, that's just about every key item when it comes to looking at the news from an employee's perspective. So we are just going to park that one there and see what else is available from our slides to see what features we'll be looking at next. So just jumping back a step, we've had a look at those items in the news, and again, from a HR's perspective, that's where the actual control of the content that's available there for employees is going to sit. So if you are a system administrator, please feel free to not only look at editing news directly from within the news tab on your dashboards, but also have a look at some of the system settings for news as well, as you might actually be able to open up some of that functionality a little bit further. Now, moving on from news, we also have a very similar feature in terms of how it gets employees to engage, which is thanks. This is a feature that is specifically there for employee recognition and allowing employees to recognize each other in a really encouraged positive environment. The aim and purpose of thanks is to really get employees to be able to openly recognize the good work that any one of each other has done. So there is no exclusion with this feature. If you choose to introduce this and enable this in your PeopleHR, this will allow any employee to interact with it directly and via thanks interact with any other employee in an open way. However, there is still some customization you can do with your thanks if you want to adapt this feature and you like the way this works, but you'd like it to be a little bit more in line with how your company works when it comes to things like open recognition. So let's take a little jump across and have a look at how, just like we did with news, how does the thanks feature appear to employees and what does that enable them to do? So as soon as we jump back to the PeopleHR system, the thanks feature is actually a feature that's available on this main left-hand menu of tabs for any employee. So if you choose to have this feature turned on, absolutely any employee can click into the thanks menu on the left-hand side here, and they'll instantly be able to see the list of thanks history, so any employees that have been thanking one another, what thanks they've been said, what comments they've applied. I can even interact with these thanks posts just like the news post, so that's where I referred to when some of the features are quite similar and how they appear. They're both kind of news feeds in their own way. However, thanks is a little bit more specific and it's there specifically for recognition, as we say. So we can see employees that have thanked one another, and we can, of course, as an employee, right at the very top here, first action that's available is thank any other employee. And it's a really, really straightforward feature in terms of how it works. It's a case of giving the give thanks a click at the top there. Then we can scroll through any portion of our thanks badges that are available. And these are made available to me by my administrators. So every thanks badge that's available here has been made available by my HR administrators from them updating this within their PeopleHR. And that's, again, something that's only available to administrators as they are the only people that can access the PeopleHR thanks settings. So please do, if you're an administrator, take a look at your thanks settings, see what badges you've got available, and see if you'd like to use the functions in there to edit those a little bit more in line with your company. So through there, we've got a variety, like I say, of different types of badges we can use. We can select whichever badge we like, and then we can give whatever additional comments we like before then choosing who it is that we want to thank and give our badges to. And we can thank a multitude of people in one go. So once we've chosen both, we can then preview, have a look at our comments, make sure we're happy with it, because this is going to be shown to the wide audience, again, to encourage everybody to engage with this type of feature. And then as soon as I post it, those two folks I've selected there are going to get a notification. It isn't going to pester anybody else by sending email alerts beyond the people receiving the thanks. But again, if anybody does make their way to this area, they are going to then be able to see and engage with this feature and provide comments if they wish. So again, really encouraging that open interaction from your employees by having no limitation on who can go in here and who can give thanks to one another. So that's just about everything from the side of the thanks feature as well. Again, a very simple feature, so great and easy for employees to adopt and engage with, but simply if you do want to introduce it. So once again, we do encourage you, if you are a system administrator learning about this feature, do take a look at your system settings down your side menu and have a look at the thanks set area. That'll allow you to decide if you want to enable this feature as well as adopt your badges in line with how your company works a little bit more closely. So let's have a look at what else is on our list today to have a look at how employees are going to engage. So following the thanks, we have a fantastic feature within PeopleHR we call logbooks. Now in today's session, we're going to have a little look at a variety of different logbook types. But just before we go any further, logbooks are effectively e-forms within PeopleHR, and within those forms we have a multitude of both standard forms. So a couple of examples we've listed here that we'll have a look at today will be things like a one-to-one and an appraisal form. We also have forms like training and qualifications as well. So this is all standard forms that come out of the box with your PeopleHR that anybody using any one of our system packages will be able to utilize these standard types of forms. But when I say you, we say not only administrators, managers, but also employees throughout the business. Now, beyond that, if you utilize certain PeopleHR system packages from enterprise or above, so that would basically include our enterprise and elite packages, you are also able to build and manage additional forms within your logbook. So this will, of course, increase the amount of information and interaction you're able to get from employees, just like you can today with existing forms, except these being through your PeopleHR. So let's take a little look at the logbook area, again from an employee's perspective, so we could see exactly the type of interaction an employee could get through the logbook area. So let's jump back across to the PeopleHR to take a look at that. So again, we're in our employee login, and again, this one actually takes us back to our profile. So this is another area we'll be exploring under the Me section. And under the Me section, so just like we visited the planner area beneath our name, there is an area labeled the logbook just underneath our name. So as soon as we click into the logbook, we can see, well, currently see a blank screen telling me there's no current records, but what that actually means is there's no current records of my one-to-ones in here. So that's a record that I could simply be able to see if my manager's recorded any historic one-to-ones in there, and that's a limited engagement even by being able to view records of things like one-to-ones. As well as one-to-ones though, you can see when I click and open that drop-down list as an employee, there's actually a wide variety of forms I'm able to either look at the very least, or possibly be able to even update and edit some of the contents within there. So for example, if I go down and have a look at, let's say, training, for example, I can see this does open up a little plus icon. So not only am I able to engage with the training form by viewing my information, so I can see a previous record that's there by clicking and opening that up and viewing and managing any details within that, but I can also click and add a brand new record. Now the reason this is different between each form is because that's simply how my system administrators have set up these two specific forms. So as well as being able to complete the information on this first screen, which is effectively what the form is there to do, I can also upload a multitude of files against this form. So it does actually open up the engagement even further in terms of allowing me to actually upload my own documents through self-service against any one of these forms. And that's just a couple of those standard examples. But as we mentioned on our slides, if you utilize either the enterprise or the elite package within PeopleHR, that actually includes the ability for your administrators to be able to edit and design their own custom forms to an unlimited capacity. And that's where additional forms in your list might come from, such as, like I have here, a medical questionnaire, actual forms designed to get people to engage, like a satisfaction survey or even specifically an engagement survey, as well as any further information or processes you might want to be driven directly through PeopleHR via a form. Such as you can see an example here, like an exit interview process, which is capturing key information on any of your leavers. Or even just a process that employees might interact with at certain times of the year, like a holiday buy-sell request. Any one of these are simply just forms, like we've seen already. An employee could select from the list, either look at their existing records, or possibly even be able to request a brand new one by opening up a blank form. So once again, if you're a system administrator, it is really worth not only taking a look at your own logbook as an example, which is definitely recommended, but also take a look at your system settings and the logbook area within settings, as that will show you everything you need to see about the state of your current logbook, what forms you have available, what forms currently capture, and if you want to amend not only what they capture, but who can actually interact with them. All of that is available via the system settings for administrators. So please again, take a little look if you're interested in what's already there, as well as if you want to maybe change or get a little bit more out of what is there. So let's go take a look back at our slides now and see what other features are left on our list, and that pretty much just leaves us with time for us to take a look at the mobile application. Now we're going to take a jump across very shortly, and when we take a look at this feature, we're basically aiming to look at the mobile app as a way so that we can take all of the functionality we've just explored on the go with us, available at our fingertips anytime. Now just before we do any further, it's always worth us mentioning at the very beginning that this app is available on any iOS or Android device. When we take a look into the mobile app, we'll be able to manage our home screen and customize it in our own way to instantly access the features that we need. We'll be able to view and manage all of our logbooks, so the examples that we've just referred to, that's all available at our fingertips on the go. We'll have full interaction of our planner, and that includes our timesheet functionality we explored, as well as some exclusive additional features. So let's take a little jump across and wrap this session up by having a look at all that functionality and how we can access it on the go using our mobile app. So here we are on the PeopleHR mobile app, and here we are firstly on the dashboard, where you can see I have a couple of features I can interact with. A mobile exclusive feature here at the top, actually labelled tap in, tap out. A little green icon you can see there as a way to quickly and easily update my timesheets, as well as you can see a variety of other features on the menu if we were to continue scrolling down. So if I want to actually update that timesheet there at the top, all I'd have to do is literally just tap on the little green icon there for me to tap in and log my current time. And then if I want to tap out and then clock my time out, just as easy, tap the red, and there you go. Quick and easy way to update your timesheets on the go that's actually a mobile exclusive. Now beyond that, again, we can see other features a little bit further down that we've already taken a look at on the web browser, like the thanks feature, where I can actually interact with the thanks I can see there that's available. I can add some comments by tapping on the comments icon there. And we can just go and view all thanks by tapping on the little view all icon if we want to go a little bit further and look at all the further details, or just simply scroll my way across the widgets to look at the quick snapshot that's there. Or like I say, if you want to go into full detail, it's just one tap away by going into the little view all there. It brings me into the main screen. I can look at any of the current thanks again like I could on the home screen there, but also actually tap the plus icon at the top to open up a new request and submit thanks for myself. So let's get back to the home screen now then. Going down a little bit further, again, even more of these quick widgets and quick actions we can do. Right here within the home screen, scroll across my holiday details, look at my recent absences, request a new holiday, which actually takes me directly into my planner if I wanted to go through that action. So I can see on my planner here which days have events. I can select the days of my holiday request. Once I've got those selected, we can go and scroll on down like we were going to do previously, provide our comments, submit, goes off for approval, and it's as easy as that. As soon as we're done, tap, continue, straight back to the home screen, and we can crack on with the rest of our actions. So, great, easy way to interact with the entirety of the PeopleHR system using the mobile app directly from our home screen. But going across a little bit further, you can see some other general features here like the planner. So if I want to look at my events, my team's events, it's completely up to me. I can even open up the month there and look a little bit further into the events that are just for the current month. If I want to view that a little bit further, just tapping on that little arrow there, or if I want to actually filter which group I'm looking at, whether it's my own events or my team, I can go into my filters at the top there, select that along the top, or even just filter down within the group there to see which individuals am I looking at depending on the access that I've got. Again, completely managed by my HR. So fantastic visibility, and again I can request my events from here just like my personal planner. So I want to go in a little plus icon up there at the top, request a holiday, request an event, update my assignments. It's all just as easy and available on the go in my fingertips in my mobile app. Now over to that side menu where I can visit any of the main areas, whether it's the thanks, the news area, visit company documents, resources. I can also visit my profile and view and manage areas, my information, and as we mentioned earlier, my logbooks. So if I actually want to tap into logbooks, not only view any of those historic forms or just simply access my information, I can also update my information from here, go down, select any one of these forms from this drop down list that I want to be able to update, search for a specific form if there's a wide variety. So let's just say, for example, there I want to open up one of my forms, just tap on it in the list like my satisfaction survey, click to open it up, and you can see just like the other forms on the web, I can complete those fields, attach documents, and it's just as quick and easy on the go. So fantastic for employees to be able to get in their mobile app available to them so they can interact with all these features, not only if they're desk-based but on the go.
Thank you, Adam, that was great. As I said earlier on, any questions that you've asked during the webinar will be answered post-webinar, so if you've still got any more questions, please pop them in the questions box now. There will be a survey that comes up on screen at the end of the webinar that will ask for your likeliness to recommend the webinar and likeliness to recommend Access as a whole. We measure it from 0 to 10. 0 to 6 is unlikely to recommend, 7 and 8 is neither likely or unlikely to recommend, and 9 and 10 is likely to recommend. It'll also ask for any future webinar suggestions and any other feedback. We would really appreciate it if you could please complete that. We are just confirming the details for our next webinar, but this will be in the new year now. As soon as we do, we'll send some invitations out for you so that you can start getting registered. And that's it from us. Thank you very much for attending. We hope that you found it useful, and we hope that you all have a lovely Christmas and New Year. Thank you, everyone.